Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Tarisai Lam, and today I wanted to share with you an online dating experience that I had many years ago. This is not to say that people will not have, great experiences, with online dating. I mean, I've heard wonderful stories of how people found their loved ones through online dating. I just don't share the same experience. So I was dating this guy I had met through this website I don't even want to mention. And, it seemed like things were going really well. We started talking a lot over the phone. But any time that I would try to book like a date for us to meet up in person, he would always cancel last minute. So we were, he was a Christian, this guy. So, and I'm also Christian. So we would talk about God, and it seemed like the relationship was going really well. And then I, I was quite transparent about, who I was talking to with my mum at that time. So my mum knew that I was talking to someone from over the phone. And then, so I remember the first time that I had planned to meet him, I asked him that, we meet at church. So the church that I was attending at the time, they had like a church conference thing going on at that time. And I said, why don't we meet there? And I even told my pastor at the time that, the guy that I'm seeing, he'll be coming today. And I even had a cake for him made because it was his birthday. I know. I was a bit sad, during that time. So anyway, he never turned up. He never turned up. And then I can't really remember because this is going back a long time ago. I was still living with my mum at the time. So the story might not be so clear, but I remember that he explained himself, and I can't really remember what his explanation was at the time, but I forgave him easily and we continued to talk over the phone. But then I started to notice some red flags, and I think also I started to notice some red flags. Like, he would make comments about my pictures, like the way that I was dressed or my makeup. He didn't want me wearing makeup. He didn't want me, he didn't like the way that I was dressing. And I was like, okay. I didn't stop dressing the way I wanted to dress, by the way, and I didn't stop wearing makeup, but he didn't want me wearing makeup. He didn't want me dressed in a certain way. And I found that a bit weird. I found that a bit controlling behavior. And then another time, I remember, this used to happen quite often. My mum's house is it was a very busy house, so a lot of people used to come and visit all the time. So he would now make comments. I'd say to him, oh, I need to go because we've got some visitors. And then he would make comments like, oh, I don't know, like maybe you're gonna start dating someone soon, maybe someone who's coming, or someone who's come at your mum's house, you're gonna start, I don't know, seeing them. And then I was like, what do you mean by that? And it was so strange for me. And I was like, so are you telling me that anyone who is gonna be coming through my mum's house, I'm going to start dating? Is that what you're saying? I was like, where is all this insecurity coming from? I don't get it. Anyway, I didn't really think much into it. And, because I was quite young, sometimes you kind of feel like it's cute. You think, oh, he actually cares. I know there is a level of jealousy that, a healthy level of jealousy that people have in relationships, but I'm talking about the kind of controlling kind of jealousy, which is crazy. And also because, like, when I now think about it, I'm thinking, you didn't want to meet with me, which now I'm seeing as a blessing. And then also I'm thinking, you know, why do you have the right to be jealous? I've been transparent with you and you haven't really been with me. Did you ever book an appointment with me and I never turn up? So why the... Anyway, moving on. Moving on. We would break up and make up. All this drama was happening online and over the phone. It's not like we had met in person at all. So then we made another appointment to meet. And then I was like, okay, this time, why didn't you go to my mum's church? My mum at the time used to pastor a church in London. She used to pastor a Nigerian church in London for many years. So I was like, okay, why don't you go and meet my mum at the church? And then he didn't turn up. And during the service, and my mum had spoken with him. He had told my mum that he was going to come. And the reason being was, this guy was saying that he wanted to be serious with me. He was talking about marriage. And I was like, wow, dear God, you've answered my prayers. I'm going to get married. And we were always praying together over the phone. So I'm thinking, this is fantastic. We're going to be serving the Lord together. You know, maybe he was just a bit shy at first. So now he's going to get to see my mum. And then, oh God, this is going to be perfect. So yeah, my mum throughout the service, she said she sent people to, you know, to look for him, to look out for him, because she was like, oh, maybe he's lost. But like the first time, he didn't call, he didn't text, he switched off his phone. And then my mum was like, you know, when she came back, because I didn't go to her church at that time, you know, my mum is like an itinerant pastor minister, so she travels around, you know, and sometimes she's like placed at different places. She preaches for, you know, churches in different places at different times. So I wasn't attending her church at the time, but anyway, yeah, he didn't turn up, and she kind of brushed it off in the evening when she came and told me that he didn't turn up. But she did say to me, something is not right about this guy, you know. And then I was like, oh, you know, you what, you know, when you're dating someone, you want the person to think that especially your mom, you want them to think the best thing about that person. So in the middle of the night, my mom now came into my room, and she was almost crying and weeping, and she said to her, "Sai, something is not right about this guy. Something is not right about this relationship. I'm not happy about it." I was like, "Mom, you're being dramatic. Just because he didn't turn up, now you're coming into my room at 2 in the morning crying and weeping like it's a funeral." You know, I didn't tell her that, of course, but I was just thinking that to myself, isn't my mum being a bit over the top? You know, she's being a bit OTT, you know, at the time. Anyway, she prayed, and all the praying mums out there, please continue to pray and cover your children, because there's a big testimony that will come after this. So anyway, I remember when we finally separated with this guy, we just decided to just end everything. I remember I cried out to God, and I said, God, you're so unfair. I blamed God. I was like, God, why won't you give me this relationship? This guy is perfect for me. Where else will I ever find a guy like this who loves God, who appears to fear God? And we've been praying together nearly every time over the phone, but every time now we're trying to meet, we're not meeting. Why? What's wrong? You know, I just couldn't get it. I just could not understand why God was not giving me this relationship. And I wanted it so badly. I wanted this guy so badly. Anyway, so yeah, I was very sad. So we ended up separating, and there was a time that we did kind of start talking again, but nothing came out of it. So fast forward, I'm now with my husband now, the one I'm with now. And then my friend, just before my wedding to my husband, my friend called me and she was like, oh, have you seen the news about your ex? You know, I was like, no, what do you mean? And then she was like, he was arrested for murdering someone. I was in shock. And even as I'm sharing this now, I can still feel the same fear, shock, disbelief that this person that I loved, this person that I was so into, I'd fallen for, had done this. And the more fear that came upon me now was, this could have been me. I will not go into the details of what happened, but yeah, I confirmed it. I went on the news and I watched the news, and it was true. He had murdered someone. And even now, as I'm sharing this, I keep on shuddering, thinking that this could have been me. This definitely could have been me. I could have been murdered. I could have, my life. And you know, the thing is, there's so much pressure that comes with being in a relationship. So I'm now saying this to anyone out there, not to scare you, but every relationship comes with its own challenges. And if you're in it with the wrong person, beware. If you're in it with the wrong person who can't take the pressure, you're in trouble. You know, if I shudder to think, because in my mind I'm thinking, if I had said the wrong thing, or if I had looked at someone the wrong way, or if I had, you know, looked a certain way, this could have been me. I could have been on the news as a victim of murder. And also, I think that dating websites need to do more, like, you know, doing criminal record checks on people before they just post themselves online, because I feel like, you know, maybe if that happens, it'll be a bit safer for those people that rely on online dating. You know, I think that, you know, I've learnt a big lesson. I've learned a really big lesson, that, you know, you can't trust. And this is not just about online dating, even the people that you meet in person. I think that even the relationships that happen naturally, I think that they're signs that, you know, we need to look out for. You need to look out for certain signs before committing yourself into any relationship, whether it's online or offline. There's signs that you need to look out for. And there's a lot of support out there, you know, for women, men. There's a lot of support that you can get, and I advise you get it if you can. And also to just say that, talk to someone, and hopefully you can talk to a group of people. Thank God that I used to tell everyone. Now, if you're a quiet person, you'll be an easy target for abusive people. You'll be an easy target. You know, for myself at the time, I was very naive. For myself at that time, I was just very naive and very stupid, that I could have easily lost my life, and I wouldn't even be here today sharing this story. So, and this is not to say that, you know, don't go on online dating. I'm just saying that do your research and be safe. Keep yourself safe. And also to encourage all the women, all the mothers, the fathers, continue to pray for your children. And aside, like, you know, from that, you know, I think that as parents, I'm a parent myself, as parents, we need to know what our children are doing. We need to monitor them on their phones, on their social media accounts. You know, we need to be extra vigilant with our children so that we know what they're getting themselves into. And my heart truly goes out to the person that was killed, you know. And yeah, this is the story that I wanted to share. It's not really a pleasant story, but I felt like if I keep this to myself, then my experience would have been just a waste. But by me sharing it, I'm hoping that whoever is listening to this, if you're in a relationship where you're not sure, about what signs you need to look out for, or you're not sure about the person that you're with, whether it's online or offline, and if some of the things that I've said, they have like some kind of like ring of truth to them, I suggest that, you know, you get some help if you can. And don't be afraid to leave, because I've noticed that for a lot of people in abusive relationships, you're so afraid to leave that abusive relationship. So this is what I'm saying, that don't be afraid to leave. Don't be afraid to take that first step, and get as much support as you can before you make that decision. Anyway, thank you all for listening, and I really hope that my story will change someone's life today. Thank you. Bye.